In this video, I will walk you through my business journey, how it started, how it evolved over time, what influenced my professional and personal decisions, and of course, we'll talk about the challenges that I've encountered and where I find myself today as an entrepreneur. Across all of my social media channels, I give a lot of business advice, and I've been receiving a lot of requests from you guys to talk more about my own journey. So this is exactly what I'm gonna do today. Hi guys, hope you are doing well. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're an entrepreneur, a content creator, or a working mama, then you've come to the right place. If you're new to my channel, my name is Veronika. I'm a co-founder of a Modest Activewear brand for Generation Apparel, a content creator and photographer. I share my business journey along with its ups and downs, valuable lessons, practical advice to inspire women like me to pursue their passion, work for their dreams, and craft the life that they deserve. Without further ado, let's get into it. For those of you who don't know, I am based in New Zealand and I moved to New Zealand at the age of 15. I came here to study all on my own, and if you want to learn more about that process and that journey, check out this video over here. And just like everyone else, I went to high school and then I went to university. I actually graduated with a Bachelor's of Performing and Screen Arts degree. In other words, I went to film school. I majored in production, directing, and writing. On paper, I majored in production, but in my final year, I still attended all of the directing and writing classes for the sake of learning. And back then I had a very clear vision for my life. I knew what I wanted to do. I was going to work my way up the production ladder and one day become a big shot Hollywood producer. I don't know, I've always been ambitious. But like with any other career, you never really know what it's going to be like for you until you're in it. Throughout my degree, I took part in various projects. I volunteered a lot. I worked on a feature film. I worked on a bunch of short films. I worked on music videos. I donated a lot of my time to learn as much as I could besides my film school experience, just because I really wanted to build up my resume as quickly as possible. I also very quickly realized that the lifestyle itself wasn't totally aligned with my personality, and let me explain. Working on set involves a lot of long days, like sometimes like 16 to 18-hour days, on your feet, night shoots, early call times. Well, for a nana like me, it was very tough. This kind of rhythm didn't really align with my personality and my lifestyle. So I started to explore other opportunities. That's when I decided to find a job with set hours. We all know those jobs. Those jobs are called 9-to-5 jobs, but I still wanted to be in the film industry, so I started contacting a bunch of talent agencies, and that's how I got a job as a talent manager. Even though that position was a great stepping stone and a great learning experience for me, it also had a glass ceiling with very limited professional growth opportunities. And at the end of the day, no matter how hard I worked, my career was still out of my hands. And that's when I also realized that 9-to-5 lifestyle is also not for me. I found myself getting pretty bored in the routine with performing mundane, same tasks every single day in a very repetitive format. And that's when I lost the drive and passion for the job. Also, that job involved a 1-hour commute every single day. On a bad day, it could add up to 2 hours. So that's a lot of the time spent commuting. So I also didn't enjoy that. Overall, I wasn't happy. That's when my husband and I took a trip to Aitutaki. Aitutaki is a little island in the Cook Islands. We just wanted to recharge, and that's when we made a decision for me to make a bold step. And when I look back on that trip, that was actually the very first mindset shift that I've encountered. I decided to quit my job and start my very first business. I wasn't gonna do it alone. I partnered up with a very bright and ambitious woman who I was working with at the time, who was also very ready to take that leap. So we decided to start our own actors agency. When I look back on that time, because I've never done this before and a million thoughts and emotions were going through my head, I was asking myself questions like, could I really do this? Am I being smart or am I being stupid? How would that decision affect me financially and mentally? Am I experienced enough to pull it off? And lastly, am I making the right choice? I remember taking long walks with my husband along the beach in Aitutaki and really having those deep conversations about what that step would mean to us. How would we have to adjust our lifestyle to make it work? Because now we were going to be affected financially. He was going to be a sole provider for a little while I get this very exciting, uncertain and scary venture off the ground. My husband believed in my vision. My husband is always the one who pushes me to the next level. He is the one who pushed me to start my first business. He's the one who always asks the right questions to make me stop and think about which direction I'm heading. He was the one who encouraged me to be on social media. And yeah, he's the best, alhamdulillah. He was working as an aeronautical engineer at the time, and that's when we agreed that he was going to fully support us, our family unit, so that I can take a step back and figure out what I want to do and really make this new business work. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit of a scary step, but as soon as I landed, I handed in my 2 weeks notice and started working on my business. Flash forward, I never, ever looked back. And that's how Fourth Wall was born, the actors agency that changed my life forever, as dramatic as it sounds. I started my very first business with under $500. For some places, it's not even a week's rent in Auckland. So yeah, on a very tight budget. That startup paid for the domain, the website hosting, 2 lots of business cards, a couple of screens, and 1 month of shared office space membership, which at the end of the day we really didn't need. So I could have potentially started the business with $200, but you live, you learn. Even though I was so new to it, I understood that entrepreneurship was about being different, solving problems, and figuring out what particular problem you can solve through your business or service. At the time, New Zealand had over 40 plus actors and talent agencies. And why did I decide to start another one? New Zealand is already a small country with a lot of talent agencies. Besides having a little bit of experience in the industry, being a talent manager for a year, it was enough time for me to see the gaps in the industry and to see the problems that actors themselves were experiencing. A lot of the agencies are completely oversaturated with talent. They have like hundreds and thousands of people on their books. So they're literally just a number. They don't have a special connection with their agent. They don't get the guidance just because the agents can't possibly mentor every single person on their books when there are thousands of people on them. That's why we decided to have a smaller roster of people, but give them more attention, and that would increase our chances of booking the jobs. Besides offering all of our actors opportunities for work, we would prepare them, mentor them, would be there when they need us, would offer them with training opportunities, would really do our best to make sure that they were as prepared as they could be when they would walk into the audition room. And that, of course, does increase the chances of them booking the job and us making the commission. I poured my heart and soul into that business. I was working really hard on it and working with a like-minded woman who was just on the same page as me. That was a pleasure. I really look back fondly on those times. It was the first business for both of us and we both cared a lot about it. So having each other definitely helped. My second business, headshot photography business, got started around the same time as Fourth Wall. When you're working with limited resources, limited financial resources, and you need to decrease your overheads and increase your cash flow, that's when you become resourceful. Besides simply finding jobs for our actors, we were offering them services like headshot photography, because every single actor needs to have a professional set of headshots, and training opportunities. That's where I would do headshot photography for them. And my business partner, who comes from a singing and acting background, she would offer acting classes. Two sides of the same coin, win-win, more cash flow for the business. We get to know our actors, we see how they are in front of the camera. It really worked for us. Here's a little story time on how I actually started dabbling in photography. I started looking into pursuing photography a little bit as a hobby at uni. I have a friend, he is now a professional fashion photographer, Shelton, but he had a spare camera that he didn't use at the time, and I told him that I wanted to learn about photography, and he very graciously lended me his camera for a while. So I started playing with it, practicing, taking photos of random things. I had budgies at the time, I took a lot of photos of them. So I literally didn't know what I was doing, but I was experimenting and learning, and that was very fun. In 2016, we traveled to Turkey for a family wedding, and I volunteered my services as a wedding photographer. That was quite a bold move. I didn't have enough experience, so let's put it that way, and I offered to do wedding photography for my brother-in-law. And they trusted me. The photos actually turned out fine. And we captured some really beautiful memories, but it was a really great experience for me. And I decided after shooting that wedding that I should probably improve my craft and maybe consider doing it as a business. And when I was working at the previous agency, I told them that I had a camera and I was practicing, I was getting better, and that's how I ended up shooting their actors for that agency. So that's where I've actually learned a lot, and that's when I kind of fell in love with headshot photography. So it was a very great skill for me to have. And of course, when I started my own agency and I already had experience working with actors, that just was the most amazing addition to the business. But of course, on the side of Fourth Wall, I started doing events and weddings and corporate headshots. That's how my photography business, Veronika M Photography, started. And it was a mix of both, shooting for Fourth Wall and shooting for other external projects. Even though I'm not operating as Veronika M Photography anymore officially, just because I don't have the time, photography will always be a huge part of who I am and my business, because I still shoot my regular clients. I have a couple of companies that I work with to this day and help them get their corporate headshots done. I shoot actors every now and then. Of course, I shoot for my Modest Activewear brand, Fifth Generation Apparel. And that skill has been the most amazing asset to the business and to everything that I do. So if you are planning on starting a business, especially a product-based business, get yourself a camera, teach yourself photography. You will save a lot of money in the process, and especially when you're first starting out, every single penny counts and you can't outsource. Those services are very, very expensive. So if you can teach yourself to get you started and get your business started, then you will just thank yourself later. I'm so grateful to have this skill up my sleeve. Which brings me to my third business, Fifth Generation Apparel. And this is the business that is so near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love what I do, but let me walk you through that journey. In January of 2018, I was running Fourth Wall and my photography business for almost a year, at that point. And that's when Volk and I were traveling again in the South Island of New Zealand. We were talking about our future, what we wanted to do, and that's when Volkan said that he really didn't want to be stuck in a 9 to 5 either. So we kind of thought that we need to start a business together. We didn't know what business exactly, but we wanted to work together and start a business together as a family. We've always been great work buddies. We've been working on a lot of DIY projects together. We figured out we work really well together, and we're like, why don't we do something together? And hopefully over time we'll get Volkan out of his 9 to 5 routine, and we can be more creative and have more freedom. And not only scheduling freedom, but also financial freedom. So these were our motivators to starting a business together. At the time, we didn't know it was going to be Modest Activewear. But at the time, I was also not very fit. What am I saying? I was very unfit. I was very unhealthy. I wasn't active enough. And when we were in South Island, we went on this beautiful hike, and I didn't realize we would have to climb 5.5 kilometers up the hill. Like, and it's not just like little incline, it's climbing through the rocks on a very steep hill. That was a struggle. I made it to the top. I did. But at the very top of that hill, right in front of the most beautiful view, I'm not sure if I'm brave enough to share the picture of the mental and emotional breakdown I had at the top of that mountain. I was crying, ugly crying. I thought I was gonna pass out. I thought I was gonna die right there and then. Yes, I'm a little bit dramatic. I can be. That hill completely changed my life. I was 23 at the time. To be honest with you, no 23-year-old should be feeling that way. So I was very unhealthy. I was very unfit. I wasn't happy with myself. And that was a wake-up call for me to take my health and fitness and well-being seriously. And towards the end of that holiday, we realized that we were on the cheapest holiday possible. We were living out of the car. We were buying food in the supermarket and cooking it ourselves. We were camping almost for free in the remote places every single day, and we still managed to almost run out of money. We had to really look at our financial situation. So we were working very hard for a year to have a 6-week holiday, and then we almost ran out of our savings. That is not financial freedom. That is struggling big time. And also living in Auckland on an average income is challenging. That was also kind of a wake-up call for us, that we needed to do something that will bring in more resources into our family. The first thing I did when we got back is getting my health and fitness and well-being in order. I lost 10 kilos. I started eating healthy. I was going on walks. I was working out almost every single day, very consistently. And I transformed my body and my mindset, because suddenly I realized, okay, I can do this in 2 months if I commit. What else can I do? And that gave me a boost of confidence, and that's when we really started to work on Fifth Generation Apparel. And before we landed on Fifth Generation Apparel, we explored different options like drop shipping, purchasing clothes from a wholesaler and selling them online, buying blanks and rebranding and selling that online. But then we also realized that wasn't personal enough for us, and it wasn't solving a huge problem. And when I was in the middle of my fitness journey, being a hijabi woman that I am, of course I struggled with finding appropriate and functional and good-looking activewear and swimwear that would make me feel good when I was working out. And would be very functional. It just wasn't available on the market back then. Great business ideas are born out of personal struggle, and once again, you have to be solving a problem. And I was experiencing the biggest problem with finding modest activewear. And if I was going through this, I bet there were hundreds and thousands, millions of women who choose to dress modestly also were experiencing the same thing. So it all felt right, and we went with cut and sew method, where you develop the product from scratch and you sample it and then you manufacture it and you bring it to the market. It's the hardest and the most expensive way to start a product-based business. The upside of it is that product is yours and yours alone, and it has your vision in it, and it has your brand in it and your values in it, so it was all worth it. We started the process with designing the swimwear, and then we just moved into adding some activewear pieces for both men and women. We wanted our store to be a very diverse and inclusive store. That was our starting point. A little disclaimer, neither Volkan or I have a fashion design background. We are completely self-taught designers. We learned how to draw. I taught myself how to draw digitally on Illustrator. We learned everything on Google and YouTube. Those are the most amazing free resources we have in the 21st century. While we were designing everything and trying to finalize the collection and designs on paper, we were also doing a lot of research into e-commerce, brands, website building, selling online, social media marketing, all of that time that I had after doing the work on my current businesses and Volkan had after his 9 to 5. All of that time we dedicated towards researching, learning, designing, moving the needle in our potential business. We sacrificed Netflix, we sacrificed our social life, we were not going out, we were saving every single penny so that we could invest that money into the business, because once everything was finalized on paper, we would have to go into sampling and then eventually into production, and that costs a lot of money. Our collection was done and dusted on paper. The next step would be manufacturing, and without knowing too much about it at the beginning, we wanted to manufacture in New Zealand, and we quickly realized that was not financially sustainable option, just because it's very expensive to manufacture in New Zealand, and New Zealand doesn't actually have things like flat lock machines. Majority of your leggings have really thick stitching, while New Zealand doesn't have a machine that does stitching like that. So we quickly realized, even though we wanted to do it locally, financially and logistically it was just impossible. So we explored overseas options like Bali, China, Pakistan, Vietnam. We actually faced a lot of rejection online because people didn't want to work with a startup. A lot of people just ignored us. A lot of people said that we were too small. A lot of people said that they don't produce the garments we wanted to produce. So it was a lot of back and forth, and a lot of time went by while we were trying to find a manufacturer. And we found one in Pakistan, and they were the only ones who said, okay, yeah, we'll give it a go. And they had a really decent online presence. Their website was solid. So yeah, we're like, okay, let's sample the entire collection. And when we received the first lot of samples back, we were completely horrified. The quality was awful. The basic directions were not followed. The fabric was wrong. They didn't even try to match the fabric to what we had in mind. We realized that was probably sewn somewhere in a garage. Well, we were, I don't know, scammed? Yeah. We were probably scammed and we lost a lot of money. It was a very expensive investment, but we didn't dwell on it, because in business, there are no failures. There are only lessons that you learn. So that was a lesson. It was a tough pill to swallow, but we were so new and it was okay. And it was out of our control. We wasted some time, we wasted some money, but we were either going to give up and be upset or we just pick ourselves up and carry on. And of course, we always chose to carry on. Once we started working on Federation Apparel, that's when I started to work on Veronika Edali, my personal brand. I started to share what I was learning in the process of starting Federation Apparel and running my current businesses online, on Instagram, on Facebook, and I really enjoyed it. I found another passion for content creation, and a lot was happening at that time. I got pregnant, I had my son. It was such a busy time of my life. We found a manufacturer in Shenzhen, China. When my son was actually 6 weeks old, Vulcan packed up his bags, went to China, sorted everything out, sorted out the fabric, sorted out the designs with the manufacturer to make the process a lot smoother. It all worked out in the end. We got our products designed and finalized, and we actually had the physical product in our hand, which started as a stick figure drawing. We launched the business, and alhamdulillah, we've been running for over a year now, and we are growing pretty rapidly. We have people in our corner who love our products, who believe in our vision, who help us grow every single day, and this journey has been absolutely transformative and exciting and rewarding and very, very challenging. It's still the two of us in the business. We have amazing creative friends who help us out, like Shelton, my friend who lent me his camera all those years back. We still work together. He's our brand photographer and he helps us out a lot. We still learn every single day, because with any business journey, there's no such thing that you get to a point and you be like, yeah, I know everything. It will never happen. So you have to embrace the learning, because if you don't grow personally, you don't grow professionally. These days, we still learn about new methods of manufacturing. We're constantly working on new products. We also work with a fashion designer now who very skillfully translates our vision onto paper, very clearly illustrates the products, which saves a lot of time and money in the product development process. I wake up every single day with purpose and a sense of direction and a lot of passion for what I do. I am very happy, alhamdulillah, even when I feel exhausted or frustrated, even if we made a mistake in business that cost us a lot of money, I am still so happy. I've been an entrepreneur for 4 years now, and alhamdulillah for everything. When I started my very first business, I honestly never thought I'd get this far and I'd be doing what I'm doing now. But also, I never thought I would feel this fulfilled in what I do. And that is absolutely everything. That's what you want to feel every single day. Your dreams are worth it. Your dreams are worth the risk and the challenges and tough lessons and sometimes tears, but at the end of the day, if you feel challenged and you feel fulfilled and you feel content in everything that you do and you have that drive and passion, imagine living like that every single day. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you sticking around. This is probably going to be a fairly long video, but it was a long time coming. If you found this video useful, please go ahead and like it, comment, share it, let me know that you enjoyed it. And also, if you have any questions, ask away in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel right here. And if you want to learn more about business and content creation, check out these playlists over here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.